Kim. How are you?
I'm great, Rose. It's good to see you. How are you doing?
Great, great.
Good.
Welcome to another episode of Casting Notes from Rose and Kim. Here we are once again. That's Kim Swanson. She's a casting director in Los Angeles. I'm Rose Rosen, a casting director here in Florida. How are you?
I'm great. I had so much fun talking with you last night on Clubhouse.
I know, right?
Mhm.
That
So
was our
it's
first room on Clubhouse.
the first time we did a room of our own on Clubhouse. We had some great questions. And, I loved the subject of talking about self-tapes and the mistakes actors make, like even in their slate that they don't realize they're making and,
Right.
and getting to share that information. And somebody could, so I love that because today we have someone who is like amazing with helping her talent do better with self-tapes,
Oh my God, that's what I want to see.
right? So,
Yeah.
Robin, are you there? Jump on in.
Robin, oh my
Yep,
God.
there she is.
Mute yourself because we want you to talk.
Right. So,
Hi
Robin,
guys,
there she
how
is.
are you?
Good. Thanks for joining us.
Of course.
So Robin Nassif is a wonderful person out in LA. She has just an amazing background. She comes from a casting background initially. Now she handles talent and represents them. And I've hired quite a few of her folks over
You
the last
have.
few years. So I always enjoy working with her. And I know, Robin, you have some very definitive things about self-tapes that I would love for you to share your thoughts on those.
Okay, do you guys want to ask me specific questions or do you want me to just talk?
Just
What
tell us
is your worst nightmare on what is your worst bugaboo on a self-tape?
When somebody has their smoke alarm going off in the background. And no, don't laugh. This happens at least once a week.
Really?
Yes,
Yep.
I
And you
noticed
can hear,
it. We have a bet.
and I'm like, are you kidding me?
Oh, that's
Really?
terrible.
You don't, the biggest problem is people don't watch their tapes after they finish them. They just send them to me. They don't watch. And if they watched, they would see all the little mistakes, the running water in the background, the dog barking, the smoke alarm going off, the doorbell ringing, somebody's cell phone going off. You would not believe how often that happens. And the casting director is just going to turn that off.
Right.
They'll go to the next person that's doing a professional tape. So yeah.
Right. And what I love is we were talking before too, is that what you do with your talent that you represent is you always have them send the self tape to you first to review,
Always.
and you
Always.
send back notes and say, do it again.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. I would
Good
say
too.
75% of the time I have notes. And if it's not on one scene, it's on another. I might have one scene might be perfectly fine and the other scene needs a lot of work. So, I love the EcoCast system because they can upload their tape to me. I can pick each particular scene, make a note on that scene, send it back to them for a retake, and then they send it back to me fixed. So that's why I love the EcoCast system. It's so easy.
Yes.
Love that. I do love that too. Yes. No, that's great. So tell our audience like who you typically handle. And I think oftentimes some of the newer actors that regionally and things that would watch this as well don't understand the difference between an agent and a manager and that sort of thing.
Mhm.
So if you could expand on that, that would be great too.
Okay, well, basically anybody can be a manager. The woman at your nail salon can be a manager. Anybody can call themselves a manager, and there's no governing body, shall we say. So you really need to do your research on agents and managers, but we are a SAG franchised talent agency. We've been in business for since 1985. So,
Wow.
and my boss, Rafael Burko, is a great guy, and he's so honest and so sweet, and he's just terrific. And he's the best guy that I've ever worked for. And we are a SAG franchised, as I said, talent agency. We have to be licensed, bonded, and insured by the state of California. They run fingerprints on us. They do background checks. They come to your office to interview you to make sure that you have a legitimate place of business. It's a whole thing to be an agent. So it's not something that anybody takes lightly.
And
I
that
love
SAG
that.
franchise is nationwide. It's not just in California. And those levels
Correct.
are universal, and that is the
Not every agency is SAG franchise. Some of them
No.
are ATA. Some of them are Association of Talent Agents. But, you know, Raphael has a very close relationship with SAG, and he always has. So he prefers that. And, you know, because of that, SAG always helps us whenever we need help. Getting our
Great.
people paid, you know, a lot of projects don't pay people, as you know. So it helps to get SAG on your side and get them involved and get people paid.
It's a crazy business we're in, that so many people don't realize it's a business. We're all wanting to
Yep.
get paid. We're all working.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I had an actor, it took him 7 months to get paid on a cable project. I won't mention the name of the cable company, but
But it's wrong.
it's based out of Atlanta, and it was very, very, very bad. You know, I mean, I think I had to call up like the head of the network and send them a letter and say, you know, like kind of use connections of people that I knew to say, look, if you don't send this guy his money, we're going to make this public and we're going to say this about this. And
Break them
finally he got paid, you know, I mean, it was literally 7 months to get this child paid.
That's
It was
insane.
just crazy.
dirty
Anyway,
secrets.
That's why it's
Yeah.
important to have good representation. Though,
yes, it is.
because
It is.
had you not been representing this person, what were they going to do on their own? Right.
And non-union projects, those are really fly by night a lot of times. And, you know, you take the chance of never getting paid when you do a non-union project because you don't have a union that will fight for you. So it's really, you know, like your projects always pay, Kim, but I've done a lot of non-union projects that do not.
Well,
And
I'll tell you,
it's
I
sad.
also, there are some talent agents I've worked with before. They're like, we love when you're on it because we know if there's a hiccup with payment that you jump on them.
Yeah, that's true. You do. You do.
But for me, like if the agents are not treated fairly and the talent's not treated fairly, that's my reputation also. So
Exactly.
I will go to battle and do that. But
yeah, it's true.
But not everybody feels that way. You know, they're like,
make sure, you know, like when people are interviewing managers, make sure that you do your research on the management company and, you know, who do they represent and what clients do they have and how long have they been in business and where did this person come from? Because, you know, if you're a SAG franchised or ATA talent agent, you know that it's top drawer and it's legitimate, but managers is a different story. So you have to be super careful.
So the managers, did they, can you explain a little bit how the money goes? And
well, I can tell you the difference between an agent and a manager.
Yes.
What we are licensed, bonded, and insured to do is submit our clients on the breakdowns, pitch our clients to the casting people and try to get them in if, you know, the breakdown doesn't get looked at or whatever, you go that extra step and you contact the casting director and say, look, I've got this person who's great for this part. Here's their picture, resume, a clip, see what you think. And that usually works. And then hopefully they get a call back and hopefully they get booked. And then once they get booked, I negotiate the deal. And that's basically all that I'm supposed to do in my
just questions
category.
there for those not in the know. Do you subscribe to some kind of service to get the breakdowns?
Breakdown services.
Right, right. And okay, so agents subscribe to that, right?
Yep.
And then they get that. And so you'll see something in there that you know you have the right person for.
Well, I actually don't really know every one of my clients off the top of my head. So what'll happen is a breakdown will come out and it'll say, Joey, 17 to 21-year-old male. So I will type in on my computer, male, 17 to 20, search, and then all my kids in that category come up. And then I decide which ones are right to pitch. And then I click the button and those choices go to the casting people and then they choose from there. And I've had it happen where they didn't think somebody that I submitted was right and I have to fight to get that person in. And many times when they see the person, they get the part. So I have to be really, I can't give up if I know someone's right for something.
Of course.
Managers, on the other hand, are, you know, a lot of them do submit. They're not supposed to, but they do. and there's been problems where actual clients of managers will sue them and not want to pay them because they were not actually they were not actually allowed to submit them. And if they submitted them and the actor got the part, the actor, and it's not very nice and it's a terrible thing to do, but they can go back and say, I'm not paying you because you're not my agent, you submitted me. And there's been a lot of, things in court where the actor says they don't want to pay and the manager fights them, and usually the manager wins because the manager has worked really hard and helped get that person that job. But it's very, the manager really shouldn't be negotiating deals and they really shouldn't be pitching. They
Okay,
should
let's
be
rewind that.
helping you.
Let's pretend like I don't know anything.
Yeah.
And all right, so you subscribe to this breakdown service,
Yes.
and also a manager can
Managers
subscribe,
do.
but the
Yep.
manager cannot submit.
They submit, they do submit. That's really not their job, but a lot of them do.
So
And
wait,
Mhm.
why would they subscribe to this if they can't submit?
well,
I'm not.
they can, but legally they are not supposed to be submitting, and legally they are not supposed to be negotiating deals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what they're supposed to be doing is guiding your career, helping you with your headshots, helping you with your coach, helping you with your classes, telling you what to wear to the audition, counseling you. That's what a manager's job is. They're not supposed to be negotiating deals ever. That's the job of the agent.
Right.
And in very severe cases, sometimes we call in a lawyer. We call in an entertainment attorney if it's a very complicated deal, but most of the time I do my deals myself. But I work with a lot of managers that submit, and sometimes they have a relationship with someone and I don't, and I'll say, hey, give that send that person a little email about this client, and so that we work as a team. But basically, it's really the agent's job to submit and pitch and book.
Right.
That's what we're there for. But it's a little muddy because a lot of managers do a lot of stuff, but basically they really should not be negotiating. That's what the bottom line is.
All right. Well, I think that cleared it up a little bit.
Sure. This is great. This is such good information for our viewers,
really
Robin. Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
your wisdom and your input. So appreciate you. So I know we need to wrap this up because you have a class to go to.
Oh no, I'm fine. I've got another 15 minutes. Do you guys want to talk about self-tapes?
Yes, let's talk a little bit about self-tapes and tell us what's your favorite thing what makes a self-tape stand out positively?
Well, I think the person needs to be off book. I don't like to see papers in the frame. I want them to be memorized, because remember, most people will be memorized. And if they're memorized and you're not, that doesn't make you look very good. That makes you look like you didn't have time. You don't care about the project. You were too busy. So you really need to be memorized. You need to have your reader opposite you next to the camera, not up there, not down here, like just opposite you, like the way I'm looking into the camera right now is the way you should be looking into the camera, but you are looking next to the camera. You don't want to look directly into the camera. That makes casting people uncomfortable somehow. So look next to the camera with your reader, and have your reader be able to pronounce words and speak English, because you'd be surprised. I have people reading with other people that can barely speak the language, and that's very distracting and it's not helpful to the actor. So, I always tell people, have a friend of yours that's an actor read with you. Don't have your mom, don't have your grandma, don't have your Uncle Joe. No, really try to get somebody that is, and you'll do the same for them. You'll help them with the reading, they'll help you with the reading.
And in this virtual world, you can do it virtually. You could put
Yes.
iPhone like right next to your computer.
That's absolutely correct. You do not need a fancy setup. You need an iPhone and a tripod and a ring light. And that's basically all you need. Don't have a background like this, You want a background that's plain and flat. I love the color of your wall behind you, Rose. That,
do you
that
like it?
kind of burgundy wall, that would be great as a backdrop, or a dark gray or a dark blue, not white, not black. Okay, want to stay away from those colors. And, you know, of course, think about what you're wearing. You're not going to wear something like this because it strobes on camera. I'm not an actor, so I can get away with it. But you want to wear something like what you're wearing, Rose. You want to wear a dark color or a contrasting color, and something that is not going to detract from you. You want your, I have people that do auditions with their hair like this. Okay, you want your hair out of your face so we can see you. Yeah, you'd be surprised.
No,
I mean,
it's
I
you.
had a girl doing an audition like this today. She literally sent it like this, and she was doing the whole audition like this, and we were looking up into her nostrils.
Oh my God, the angles they come
They
up.
don't look, they don't, people don't watch their tapes after they finish them, so they're not good. You
Yeah.
must watch your tape before you send it to your agent or your manager, please.
Yes.
It's
Oh,
just
that's
common
so
sense.
genius. Of course.
Yeah. And you'll see the problems, and you'll be able to fix most of them, you know? So.
I mean, you're preaching to the choir here. We love what you're saying, and I can't wait for this episode to hit the air because this is great information that is useful to the actors right now.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Robin, thank you so much for.
Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and tell everybody, put a good team together, do your research, make sure people have, you know, background in the business. That's the most important thing when you're hiring a manager or an agent. Make sure they have, you know, a good long history in the business and they know what they're doing, or they're really savvy and they've learned a lot in a short amount of time.
Trustworthy people that will pay you.
Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I've never heard of a manager or an agent not paying their client, but I'm sure that's happened. But you know,
I
what
have
you want to
actually.
make sure is you have somebody that's going to fight for you.
Florida, so it's another story. But yeah, no, what a delight. Thank you. I hope you'll come back and see us again. I hope everybody likes and subscribes. Are you?
I would always come back whenever you guys need me.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. And
Robin.
Bye.
thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.